I thought I was the only one. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I thought I was the only one, man. I thought I was the only fucking one. I thought I was the only one, man. For real. I mainly thought I was the only one. I only thought I was the only one because like right now, or at least this is just from my perspective, of course. I've always seen a society where it's like nose tooted up, shit don't stink. We ain't got no issues. And I ain't saying you gotta look like your problems. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying you gotta look like your issues, your problems and shit. I ain't saying that. Cause I could say as far as that standpoint, as far as that, black Americans make that look good. We've always made struggle look good, right? We won't be looking like our problems. At least most of us, you know what I'm saying? We won't be looking like our problems. But what I am saying when I say that, it's like, boom, once again, solution based, solution based. If we was to look at it like I talk about this a lot, how can I disarm you? How can I approach you? And once we get that out the way, we can move on to the, you know what I mean, to the real shit, to some more shit. Like we can eventually get together and break bread. We can eventually get together and build. But I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole. What I'm saying is as far as people not always being people are not transparent when it comes to them needing help. I know you can relate. Like, people are not transparent, when it comes to needing help. They're very prideful. And if I was to say, I would say that, this this whole environment, this whole society, that they groom everybody to do that, to be that way. Like, you're born into chasing labels. Like, boom, if since a little boy or little girl, when you walk into a classroom or which is crazy, I think it starts, I didn't start caring about the Nike signs and shit like that until what? I want to say probably like 3rd grade, 4th grade, shit like that. 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, yeah, that's when you start asking your mom, I need these, I need, I need to have a bubble coat, I gotta have the first down, I gotta have, just different labels, and it's like, and be broke as a joke, knowing that my mom ain't got it. That's another thing. That's why we jump off the porch super early, because it's like, man, we seen our people struggling. And I always say this story. Growing up, we didn't even know there was issues. I ain't even gonna lie to you. We ain't even, at least my, my situation, I didn't even know it was as bad as it was. You know, my mother, my people, they made sure that, we was, we wasn't worrying about things like that. Like, yeah, we'll see the little issues here and there, you know what I mean? But we love the syrup sandwiches and, the mayonnaise sandwiches and shit like that. The peanut butter cookies and like we love all that though. We didn't even look at it like, oh, it's all you had. Okay, we didn't know that. Like we looked at it and man, that shit was banging. Growing up with all my cousins, like we all get fed hot dogs and beans and franks, you know what I mean? Beans and franks. Like it's just, this was like just normal. So we ain't on no shit like, oh, we're thinking we the only one. And you go to school, everybody that go to school, everybody that went to school with us, we was all in the same boat. Everybody walked to the same corner store, everybody, you see their moms, hopping in the taxi or hopping on the bus or the train, like it wasn't even looked at as, damn, we being oppressed. We didn't look at it, at least I didn't. I'm not speaking for everyone. I'm just saying my situation. My people did a great job as far as cloaking the masking the bullshit. At the same time, I could say it came back and bit me. It came back and bit me. As you get older. It's like being your first time getting running into racism. Like that shit was weird as fuck to me. I'm like, what? Cause I ain't grow up around all white folks and shit. So it's like, that's weird. And of course your first instinct, is to want to bomb on them when, cause some harm to them. And it's like, I ain't even gonna lie to you. I went home and teared up. Went home and cried. Told my mother like, yo, and I'm only like 12, 13 when this shit happened. At a public pool, like some random shit. Called me and my homeboys a nigga, like at ER. We was like, yo, like we'll jump you right here. But at the same time, it was just like very daggering. Because we wasn't even worrying about homeboy. We wasn't even worrying about him. A grown-ass man, too. It was like a nigga was in his 30s or some shit. But anyway, like what I'm saying is, I didn't know I was the only. I thought I was the only one. As far as now that I'm older. Like, cause I see how everybody is so groomed into hiding behind labels, hiding behind what they drive, shit like that. And like I said, once again, I ain't expecting people to look like how they problems is, look like their problems. I'm not expecting that. What I'm saying is just imagine an ecosystem and environment, right, that we were able to actually live that it takes a village quote. Like, notice that a side note, on a side note, notice we live in a fucking society that people are good at regurgitating slogans and quotes and shit like this, or even scripture, and don't live by it. It's kind of weird. And how you could easily see this shit is very evident once, like say, just hold a quick conversation, and you coming from an angle of learning. You're not coming from an angle of trying to debunk. I always speak on that. Like when you hold dialogue with people, because our bottom line, right? Our goal is to gain understanding. Gain understanding. It's not to top each other. Like I can't stand conversing with somebody like that. Anybody that know me know that I cut the whole shit short because I'll sniff that. I'm like, oh, okay, you're just trying to make me look stupid. You know, and that to me, that's weird to me. That's always been weird to me. You know, like I'm not gonna waste time doing that. You know, battle of the swords, comparing dicks and shit. I'm not doing all that. Pause. I'm not doing all that. Like I'd rather hold a dialogue with you, and we can gain understanding. You know what I mean? I'm not one to you tell me some shit I didn't know, and then I'm going to lie my way out or troll my way out. That's corny as fuck, man. That's corny. You know what I mean? Like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. Respect, you know, or you know what I mean? Even asking more questions to keep going. Like, you know what I mean? And one thing I'm big on is you don't believe everything. I heard this recently, like, and I've always been one to say that to people. Like, when you speak to people, or even when you learning shit, like, it ain't like you gotta become a part of their cult or nothing. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gotta like kiss they tip or nothing. It's on some shit like you know, chew out the meat, spit out the bones. Like you literally take from what you need from it. You know, I learned that trait. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I learned that trait from Jay-Z's story. I look at Jay-Z as a human being that does that. You know, people may think that, oh, he's on some like dog shit or you know what I mean, backstabbing. It's like, nah, he don't move like that. I don't believe that cat moves like that. He uses his environment, uses what, you know, the cards that he was dealt. You know what I'm saying? And he adapts in the situation. You know, you adapt in the situation. Like when you meet somebody, you know, you never know what'll come about, what'll come from that. You know, what'll come from that. Like, yeah, it could be a lesson from a bad situation. Of course, the longer you live on this earth and the more experiences you go through, you know what I'm saying, you learn how to sniff out shit. If it's a duck, it look like a duck, it's a fucking duck. You know what I mean? You get up out the way, you know, you basically douse it out before it even brew. But at the same time, you know, it be things that'll help you as well. You know what I mean? It'll be things that'll help you. So if you go into a dialogue, go into a you know, communication with somebody on, and I ain't saying don't be on defense. All this shit that I'm saying, man, I'm working on present time, man. I'm working on this shit present time. I always talk about that. I work on how can I be approached and how can I approach people. Like, you know, literally on some like, you know, I don't know trust. I don't trust no one, but on some like, you know, let's, you know what I mean? Make it cordial, make it, you know what I'm saying, beneficial. You know what I'm saying? We're not wasting our time. You're not trying to get me. I'm not trying to get you. You know what I'm saying? But like I was saying, as far as like when you communicate with somebody, you don't have that type of vitriol or whatever. You know, we all, you know, as a human, we live with having prejudices. You know, we prejudge most definitely. And there's nothing wrong with these things. That's boundaries. That's you holding up your boundaries. So, like I said previously, like boom, I'm at the age now, and it's been like this for some years because I was even groomed like this as a young boy. You see certain shit, you sniff out certain shit, and you go the other way, or you react accordingly. Like it's never on some shit where, you know, you play into their hand. You know, it probably happened to you one time and then it happened to you never again because, you know what I'm saying, you just see what it is. You see what it is and you move accordingly. But what I was meaning by, I thought I was the only one. Man. I thought I was the only one dealing with this whole, you know, like your daily stresses. Your daily stresses of, you know, work. I call it a hamster wheel. You know, working on the hamster wheel. constantly day in and day out, getting on that hamster wheel, going to work just to, provide the basics, provide the basics. And you dare not to miss a day. You dare not to miss a day. You dare not to even grow weary of doing what you got to do. Like I definitely ain't coming from the angle of that kind of complaining, because even if I had buku land, buku land and everything I needed in abundance, I still would work. But one thing for sure is, the thing that stresses me is, having to be in the grid, in a system. Once I realized that, I don't know about you, once I realized that shit blew my mind, man. That shit blew my mind. I'm like, oh snap. Like, these niggas literally run every angle, man. like one in particular that bothers me a lot. Anybody that know me would know this bothers me a lot. Going to the hospital, having to go to the hospital and dealing with people that are not like you. And of course that depends on where you at or whatever. You know what I mean? That depends on where you at. But even then, it don't, we don't run the whole shit though. Like, you know what I mean? Even then we don't run the whole shit. But even from the point that I'm trying to make is like, like it's been a narrative they've been saying, like black people, black women, black men, they got a narrative thinking that our pain thresholds are high. We can withstand more pain than other motherfuckers, other groups, and that's weird to me. And it's like, that's why they have, like, as you can see, fast forward, just I'm gonna speed what I'm saying up. Fast forward, that's why you see the opiate crisis got out of hand in their communities, because they'll give you some watered down ass shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, boom, they might give you Motrin, ibuprofen, or and it'd be some serious ass shit. It'd be some serious ass shit where, boom, they can knock it out. But at the same time, you gotta look at it as God was preserving you. God was definitely preserving you. But at the same time, boom, on the flip side, you dealing with a lot of pain because you wasn't even prescribed correctly. And here they are in their communities, they oversubscribe them, over prescribe them, sorry. And then they get hooked, you know what I mean? They got an addictive personality, you know what I mean? Gene pool, that they dealing with. So it's like, oh, that's how the whole opiate, the pill, you got your pill heads and shit. That's how that shit got out of control, because you got them doctors is passing them out like Halloween candy, like Skittles and shit. And that's why they, as you can see, it's like that. And it's always been like that. If you was to ask me, it's always been like that my whole life. I've always seen that shit. You know what I mean? Like it just only becomes amplified once it starts. You know what I mean? Like, you notice it was football numbers for motherfuckers that was, dealing with fucking with crack, fucking with crack cocaine. It was football numbers for our people, extracting the father out the home, you know what I mean? Putting the mother independence of the system. It was a whole play, right? A whole different play than how they handled their shit, with the opioids. And here it is, the fentanyl, you know what I mean? The Fetty Wap. Like they are handling it with kid gloves. You know what I'm saying? Handling it with kid gloves. And they, you know what I mean? They're letting a lot of shit slide. I don't know about you. Where I'm at, all you see is fucking zombies walking around. That's all you see is zombies walking around. And it's sad, I'm not no, dirty motherfucker that is like, that's what they get. Nah, man, that shit's still sad. And see, even that's my spirit. That's what I was born with. I can't look down on another human being. I just don't have that in me. And a lot of my people could say that I've seen that in my people. Like we don't just step over the nigga. You know what I mean? Hell no, we can't do that. We always look at shit like we ain't the only one. You know what I mean? We ain't the only one, so it's like, you know, how many, boom, perfect example. Growing up, I think I was probably the last generation. I don't know if this shit still goes on, but I thank the Father that I'm not in this situation no more. But I grew up, boom, having to go knock on Miss Johnson's door for like a couple pieces of bread. Or my mom said, you got a couple eggs? Or my mom said, you got, you know, some vegetable oil. And it'll be vice versa throughout the neighborhood. You get what I'm saying? This is just how I grew up. Now, looking at it from a distance now, like I said, I thank God for not being in them circumstances no more. But at the same time, this is what came to me recently, and it's been on my heart, you know, my mind. I just feel like that's the basics, man. And the basics is like so refreshing, man. The basics is so rewarding, way more rewarding than having a full fridge and having everything. Like, wait, follow me. What I'm saying is like, say your neighbor, and everybody ain't your neighbor, but say somebody that, like I said, you can, y'all cool to where you can knock on the door, you got some milk or what have you. You know what I mean? Say it was an environment that was promoted like that, more, especially right now. To me, that's the basics. And with that said, it like, it's therapeutic for, it fixes a lot of things. It's therapeutic for your soul, and it's also, you know, like I said, it fixes a lot of things. I could tell you it's an economic booster for sure. You know what I'm saying? Like what you don't got, they got, and what they don't got, you got. You know, and that's truly that village mindset, that village quote. You know, it takes a village, because it won't just transfer. It won't just be set on tangibles, right? It wouldn't just be set on just tangibles, you know, food and, you know, what you need and shit. It'll be other things like, you know, just conversation. That'll promote conversation. That'll disarm people. You know what I mean? It'll disarm people to a point where, you know, you're not feeling like you on the island, or you're not feeling like you going through it yourself. You get what I'm saying? Like that's a big reason why the Most High made us the way He made us. You know, for us to congregate and come to, first and foremost, come to the Most High, go to the Most High. You know, it ain't nothing that a man or woman could do that the Most High ain't gonna do for you. It ain't nothing on this earth that you should be trusting a man or a woman for. What I'm saying is instead of coming at each other like or you know, I got this, you don't, you know, and you know, if you talk to anybody with some fucking sense, time goes by, and they run into that same circumstance. You see that with them folks right now. You know what I mean? What they were saying, pull yourself out by your bootstrap. Stop being lazy. You know, you just gotta apply. They, you know, all kind of excuses out the hat. You know, all kind of bullshit. And then boom, you know, things start exposing. Like we start seeing the scam culture. We start seeing the education scam culture, all kind of shit. As you can see, the SNAP benefits culture, you know, all this shit that motherfuckers was, you know, just shooting from a safe place for a long time, man. And you know what I mean? People that don't even be living around you. It be motherfuckers in the Midwest talking about what's going on in New York, talking about what's going on in Jersey, and it's crazy, in Baltimore and shit. That's what's wild. It's like, why the fuck if it ain't on your mind to help, why, you know what I mean? Why is that occupying your brain? What's going on in Chicago if you ain't there? At least with good spirits to help or what have you, or Louisiana, anywhere where there's issues, you know, which I would say it's in every state. It be right in their backyard, you know, it be right in their own backyard. And the motherfucker is worrying about what's going on in our shit. You know what I mean? Trying to, you know, degrade people, you know. all that, just evil spirit. And as you can see, boom, in such a time as this, it comes back and bites them right in the ass, It eats them. The whole time they've been eating themselves. The whole time. Handouts, projections, projecting, saying that we getting the handouts, we get the, like, nah, man, hell no. Like I started off with this live saying, like I grew up, it'd be me, my sister, me, my brothers, me, my cousins, we all just sitting there, it'll be like, say like eight of us, and my grandma make some peanut butter cookies, and that'll make everybody be smiling ear to ear. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers be outside all day, We getting told don't keep running in and out the house. We come in, and damn well we hungry. But that's another thing. Just being raised like that. They tell you don't be coming in and out the house. Mainly because you be sitting up there. If you sitting in the house all day, you gonna be eating the rations. You gonna be eating shit all day. You gonna be eating shit all day. Asking, oh, what can we, what can we eat? All that. It's like, get outside and play. Get to know the other kids, you know what I mean? Go play kickball and all that, tag and all that. Like, that's all that needs. I look at all that as the basics, man. I look at all of that as the basics, like from the, being able to knock on my neighbor's door and my mom said, can we get 4 slices of bread? And, the neighbor is like, oh, sure. She probably got an extra loaf. That's what would happen often. Got a whole extra loaf because it was like that. It was reciprocal. It was like that with my mother, Like she make something, banana bread, whatever. Boom, she passing them out. Whatever, man. That's just how it was, And a lot of people, for the people that still do live this way, I commend you. All I'm saying is that is what needs to happen across the board, not just with the, tangibles and the food and like even when it comes to just having an ear, you know what I mean? That having an ear, let somebody, you know what I mean? Hey man, like I had this little issue at work, That's if, y'all open to it. But all I'm saying is this needs to get back to that, like where y'all stand on the porch of the backyard. You know what I mean? How was your day? Instead of looking at each other with the side eye or comparing, vehicles and, knowing damn well you probably going to Jiffy Lube or what have you to get your oil changed, and you got somebody right next door that'll do your fucking shit for nothing, if y'all cool, you know what I mean? Y'all can just barter, you know what I'm saying? Or got some extra oranges or, whatever it is. That's just how it is. That's just how it should be. That's just how it should be. And when it's like that, you'll realize that you're not the only one. You know what I mean? It takes a lot of stress off your shoulders. It'll take a lot of, that feeling you get where motherfuckers is trying to keep up with the Joneses, Believe it or not, man, that shit ages you. I don't know if anybody ever told you that. Like you sitting up here trying to keep up with I can see if you like nice shit just to get it for yourself. Not a lot of people are like that, because I can say for myself, I'm like that, and that I've noticed that around me. Soon as I'll get something, like you'll notice that motherfuckers are like trying to compete with you. Like one thing for sure, I hate when somebody calls out what I just got. I'm talking about it if you don't know me. Like that shit is bothering to me. It's like you pocket watching, or you see what I'm saying? Like you instantly become a threat. You know what I mean? You instantly become a, you know what I mean? You are on my radar. Like yo, like yeah, don't worry about what I got. You know what I'm saying? Don't worry about what the fuck I got. But just the, like I was saying, as far as the. Like I was saying, as far as the, the breeding breeding an environment where people are comfortable enough to, hey man, I got a flat tire, you think you can help me? Like I see a lot of like single ladies, like they'll be needing help, or elderly, you know what I'm saying? And people are prideful, and I feel bad for them. I feel bad for them. Like I don't know about you. I grew up in an environment where I could just knock on the door, and I ain't gonna say it was all like that. Like I've been in environments where it was very scarce to knock on doors, and they said, "Can I use your phone real quick?" This is before cell phones and shit. So it's like, and boom, I done heard the stories, and somebody blasting straight through the door, or motherfuckers getting snatched and all that. Like, and I think the Most High that none of that happened to me. All I'm saying is, it's like for me even having have the spirit, you know what I mean, the will to go knock on somebody's door when in need. You know what I mean? Hey, say, bro, I can use your phone real quick. Shit like that. That's saying something. You know what I mean? Now imagine if the whole, the whole country, the whole world was on some type of time like that. You know what I mean? It'll weed out. I swear, it'll weed out the bad, the rotten ones. It'll weed them out. It'll weed them out. It's kind of like that when you see happiness and everybody feeling good or what have you. You'll see like the rotten apple in the room or the rotten apple in the you know what I mean, in the situation in the building. Like they eventually have to get filtered the fuck out. Like and oftentimes it'll be on. That's the true meaning to me of the if you can't beat them, join them. When it's like that, they'll eventually have to conform to, like man, we ain't got no time or no space. There's no room for this negativity. There's no room for this you trying to beat me out shit. There's no room for your, you know what I mean, your dark cloud in this environment. In this environment where we look at each other like we not the only one. We're not the only one going through shit. We're not the only one needing help, or what have you. Like once a human being realizes that, to me, that's that's the definition of true maturity. You know what I mean? That's true maturity, man. That's a true. That's when you become, accountable. That's when you become responsible. To me. And if you're born like that, because a lot of us, like I said, we're groomed in these environments, in these, our whole upbringing to be like where you humble, you know what I mean, humble beginnings or what have you. And so when you step out and when you become of age and you're an adult, you don't even have that in your spirit where you looking down on people, you know what I mean? If you got it, they got it, if you ain't got it, you got something else for them. You got some like words of encouragement, affirmations and shit. You know what I mean? Like that's the type of world that I dream of. You know what I mean? At the same time, I know there's a yin and yang for everything. Don't trip. I already know. But if there's good over here, I know the evil is lurking. But like I was saying, as far as the good, if more good was happen, it has to filter out. You'll be able to spot the evil easier. We'll be able to assess it, douse it out. We'll be able to, take care of it instead of letting this evil shit prevail. The evil shit prevail and have legs and have power. You know what I mean? Because you gotta understand. First off, I'm gonna say this: the whole system needs to be scrapped. The whole system needs to be, destroyed. On some real shit, it needs to be tore down and reconstructed into a just system from your court, all of it. You know what I mean? Your federal government, all of it needs to be reconstructed, man. But as far as everything that I see when I say that you're not the only one. Times like this is necessary because it gets people out of that mindset, out of that that nose tooted up, walking around smiling like a chessy cat. And I ain't saying there's nothing wrong with smiling. All I'm saying is I was born and raised into a world, and I'm sure if you listening to this, you was as well. I was born and raised into a fucking world where motherfuckers got alternative motives, like behind that. Like, how can I get you? How can I take from you and give to myself? And when it's genuine. Just like I always say to my analogy, as far as people saying good morning to you. You know when it's genuine. You know when it's, hello, how's it going? Hey, what's up, man? You know when it's real. And you know when it's false. And oftentimes I can say, just speaking on my people, on Black Americans, we don't say nothing to you if it's coming from a false thing. If it's coming from any kind of that, if that makes sense. Like if we fuck with each other, we say, well, if I fuck with you, I'm saying what's up. You know what I mean? If I don't, like it's pretty much north and south, right? It's cut and dry. Like that's self-explanatory. I'm not going out my way to do anything dirty to you, though. You know what I mean? I'm not going out my way to, fuck up your life or nothing like that. But one thing for sure, I'm not going out my way to say hello to you if I don't fuck with you. You know what I mean? We can keep it cordial like that. If that makes sense. That's respect. You know what I'm saying? That's respect. You know what I mean? But at the same time, you'll have that same equation where you have people wanting to attach to you just so they can extract, you know what I mean, whatever it is you got that they don't got from you, and that's worse than, of course, to me, it's worse than anything when you got, your fake love and the fake all that, and it's all about extracting your resources or whatever it is that you got, you know what I mean, that they don't got, they're not coming from I'm gonna give it back, or what you need. They're not coming from that spirit. They coming from first off, they thinking that they the only one. Matter of fact, I don't even look at it like they think they know they're not the only one, but at the same time, they looking at it like, in order for me to get ahead, I gotta beat you out. I gotta fuck over your life. I gotta, like, as you can see when elections, when the election seasons come around, motherfuckers be talking about how they gonna vote, and it be often based on different biases towards other groups and shit. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, that's weird to me. That's weird as fuck. Like, you gonna vote so them kids over there, education system is different than so your kids over on your side can have better books and better fields and equipment. That's crazy to me. That's super crazy. Roads over here, and like like how do you sleep at night for you to be thinking that it's going to be okay, like it's just going to ride out smooth for you, where you think that you fighting for yours, and fuck them on the other side, and you thinking that it's never gonna come back to get you. It's never gonna come back around to get you. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. One way or another, it's getting you. Nature, as you can see, nature gets you. You know what I'm saying? And your health, all that shit comes back and gets you. If the people, you know what I mean, because that's in their minds every damn day, thinking that we just gonna rise up and just start murking shit. And it's like, man, motherfuckers ain't even worrying about you. You could say I'm all paranoid and shit. All paranoid and shit, but yeah, I thank the Most High for just being raised in such a lesson. I want to say a lesson driven childhood environment. You know, like I know the Icy Lady. I know Miss Annie. I know different. You know what I mean? Like you could just walk down the block. Like people think for some reason that's what I hate about the media. The you know the popular, you know what I mean, the mass media, you know, the white folks, that media. I hate that they show in the movies and the media that they think that black neighborhoods is just like you know what I mean, like it's unsafe. They think that it's just degenerate shit happen all day everywhere. Like that's weird to me. That's always bothered me. Like like people would be like, "Oh, you from there? Oh, damn, they crazy over there and shit." And they think you supposed to join in the conversation with talking down about where they from. Like to me, I look at that as talking down, you know. And that even happens within our own. Like we'll start talking about a certain neighborhood or whatever, or a certain city and shit, and we instantly, you know, at one point it was popular to talk about the bad shit, like, oh, they be jacking cars and shit over there, or they be busting over there, or they got them switching, you know, stupid shit. And it's like, nah, man, you know damn well that shit ain't like that. You know it ain't like that. Like, yeah, it goes down like that, but it goes down like that everywhere. Given the opportunity, you know what I mean? Given the circumstances, but you know, to put that cloud on the whole city or whole hood, nah, man, it ain't like that. Like it be motherfuckers that'll literally walk a grandma across the street, you know, help her with her bags, all that. You know, people say hello, hey, what's up, man? How you doing? All that. And then you go into these other environments, you know, none in particular. I'm not gonna say none in particular, but you go into these other environments where it's where them folks is predominant, and it ain't that type of environment. It's not that type of vibe. It's not that they on some like, you know what I mean? It's very dark. It's very dark. At the same time, you see a lot of smiles though. It's weird. It's weird as fuck, knowing damn well that ain't how it is. You know what I mean? But they'll think that all neighborhoods is you know, people is just walking around gloomy and shit, you know, lost and angry and shit, and that's not the case. That's not the case. I hate that they put the 1%. They try to put the 1% of our bad shit all over the media, all over the, you know, for the world to see, for the Africans thinking that black Americans are lazy and this and that. They all come with that same story. They come here thinking that this is how we are because what they saw on the media. And it's like, nah, man, that's false. And then they put our 99%, you know, of how we really are, you know, our hard working, get up, go to work every day, you know, motherfuckers raising their kids, you know, like the black fathers in their kids' lives, their whole life. That like it's not no overwhelming number the way they made it seem, you know, all this false shit, you know, trying to make it seem like we the only ones, you know what I mean? Like, and it's like, you crazy. If anything, we the only ones that uphold any kind of standards or morals or, you know, any kind of moral compass. Stop it, man. And that ain't coming from a space of like, though. I'm not on no like, like if anything, when you put the people that needs to be rightfully put in a position at the top, you know, at the top, it gets a lot of things in order. Like, for example, you paying the debt owed to my people, that reparations, like that's foul. You withholding that. I see what y'all doing. You're playing the long game. I see what y'all doing. Y'all waiting for my generation or the generations that's pushing the line right now. You're waiting for us to die off, just like you did for my ancestors, for my elders. You know what I'm saying? I already see that you doing that, and that's foul. That's foul. Nature gonna get you though. Nature getting you though. You know, your health is it's bad. You know, your health is horrible. You know, now however many transfers of power y'all do. You know what I mean? All of you, yeah. It's just disgusting that, you know, whether you pay the shit out, you can either do it one way or another. You know, do it the easy way or the either way we gonna get paid. You know what I'm saying? Either way we gonna get paid. You can give us what we owe right now, or it's all gonna be taken away from you. It's either way. It's that's the inevitable anyway. You know, it's just sad that that's how you playing it though. That's sad how you playing it. You know, you're gonna trying to run out the clock on motherfuckers. You know, and as you can see, they grooming up their young to be continue on holding the flag for being racist, and that ain't gonna fly. They already know that. They already know that. That's sad. That's disgusting. That's disgusting. But like I was saying, as far as you're not the only one. You know, such a time like this is exposing, you know, people to where they have to, you know, humble themselves and be like, hey man, I need the help. Or, you know, they gotta go get that second job, that third, you know what I mean? Whatever it is, you know what I mean? You first seen it in the pandemic. I was saying that during the pandemic, you know, and what I always tell people is that the world was on my type of time, you know, because I ain't gonna lie. By the time I became of age, like 2021, I was so exhausted from always being outside, man, just from, you know, my upbringing or what have you. And by the time I got 2021, it was like, man, like it just felt good to actually, you know, be on the path for some stability, you know, like, you know, that's overrated, you know. Like I'm one that'll tell you I love being home, you know. Like I don't pay a lot for my home not to be there. Like that's the first point that I'll make. But at the same time, it's like that's where your most peace, you know what I mean? That's your sanctuary. That's where, you know, you can connect to your maker. You know, you can raise up your kids. You know, y'all build your memories. You know, teach them traditions. You know what I'm saying? Like it's very much underrated, shall I say? Because people always want to be here and there, spending there, and, you know, and it's all a facade. You know, if you was to ask me, I've always said that. Like it's a fucking facade. You know, like people feel like they have to be here and there. Like boom, Friday, right? Friday come, Saturday and Sunday, right? Your weekends, they got you groomed. It's like clockwork. You work Monday through Friday, or whatever you do, Fridays, however your shit is set up, and then your days off, what? You gonna act a ass. You gonna, you know, spend the money that, you know, like, you know what I mean? Like it's just you're programmed to do this shit. And you don't want to look like you don't, you know. You don't want to look like you don't. You know, you don't want to look like you don't have a life, shall I say? That's how. What you doing this weekend? If you was to tell people, oh, I'm at the crib, you know what I mean? They don't know how your crib is set up. You can have a whole bowling alley in that bitch, basketball court, the whole nine. Like, why the fuck do I need to go spend some, you know, go do all that if I got it at the crib? You know, pool table, whatever, nice backyard. Like, you know what I mean? You don't get your shit cut just to not be there. That's stupid. That's stupid as fuck. You gonna go, or you got a full fridge full of food, but you in somebody's restaurant every weekend. Like, that's weird. To me, it's weird. It's weird as fuck. You know, and the biggest part about it being weird to me is that the corporations, these businesses and shit that you steady patronizing, don't give a fuck about you. Like, we don't live in a society where that dollar gets turned over and actually hits what needs to happen. You know what I mean? Or you know what I mean? They get buku money hand over fist, and they don't even be sounding off about the injustices and shit. You know what I mean? Like the world don't even stop when a lady that calls the police for the police to come check and see if somebody's in a home and they get shot in the face. The world don't even stop on shit like that. Like that's crazy to me. That's super, but it stops for some, you know what I mean, so-called, I don't know what to call them, I guess YouTuber, slash fake politician gets shot in the neck, and he's you know what I mean, just spewing nothing but racist rhetoric towards one particular group, and all of a sudden, you got shit at Starbucks and national days of silence, and it's just weird. That's weird as fuck to me, But hey, it all comes to a head. It all comes to a head. It definitely does. But right now things is showing face as far as you can't hide behind the those labels and hide behind the projections and shit. Nope. Nope. Like I said, I've always seen it at the food banks. I've been to food banks. I'm not ashamed of it. I wasn't, see what I mean? I wasn't raised in no damn environment where we look down on each other for that shit. Like if anything, you come over my people's house and you know that we got food, motherfucker. Fuck all that where it came from and all that. Like it's everybody good, you know what I mean? Beans and rice, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, everybody good. We got mac and cheese, collard greens, like it. Yeah, stop it. Yeah, you seen us walk to the bus stop. Okay. Like I said at the top of this, my people make even the struggle look good. Even the struggle look good. I was groomed, born and raised on the creed of it gets greater later, keep going. It gets greater later, keep going. You ain't the only one. I ain't even worrying about being the only one either. That's the crazy thing. That's the crazy thing, Like if anything, I feel like I'm a treasure then. I'm a treasure. Like I can't see somebody else struggling around me and within reach of me, and I got and they ain't got. I can't do that. Yeah, it's just I can't do it at all. Even if we ain't on good terms, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna send it through the pipeline. It's always been like that, and this is how I was raised around. I would see my people be like that, And a lot of times, you know what I mean? Once again, just being in that type of environment, it like all that petty shit, all that, and you know what I mean? The things that we let brew and let cultivate, let just destroy relationships. Yeah, all that shit. You won't even have no time for that. It won't be able to breathe in an environment like that at all. It won't be able to grow at all in an environment like that, because you'll know that your person. You'll know that your people is not coming from a spirit of what they can take from you. What can they get from you, and what they can squeeze out of you. Like that ain't you know what I mean? All that bullshit won't even be able to live in an environment like that. That's why I say it would be easy to point out, it would be easy to highlight, filter out the bullshit if more people came from that angle. Like I've always seen, when I see different type of cars, as I've gotten older, I've always been like, just imagine if it was only one type of vehicle, or maybe three. I'll give it three. Like you got your sedan, then you got your pickup truck, and then a van. And then I guess four, a semi truck, just the necessities, the basics. It'll look like Pleasantville, like The Sims or some shit, but at the same time, it'll douse out all all that comparing shit. You know what I mean? Like it naturally just kill that comparing factor. Oh, I got this one, you don't. You know, like that shit is corny as hell. You got grown ass men and women being like that. Her bag is fake, shit like that. You know, them sneaks are fake. It's like, nigga, like these shoes are helping me walk on this ground, nigga. Like that's what the fuck they're for. You know, now we're like so far beyond the basics. We're so far beyond the basics that, you know, niggas is worrying about the color you got on. Motherfuckers is worrying about the brand, what they made out of, all that. And it's like, stop it, man. And you, at the end of the day, you ain't got a pot to piss in. You know, yeah, you got a home. Guess who you paying for that land and paying to the grid for that shit. You paying to a system for that shit. You ain't got shit to your name. You know, you gonna die and then boom, that system gonna keep rolling, man. Once you gone, that system still gonna keep going. You ain't the only one. Trust.